If you've heard people say Moore's Law is dead, this story is about one guy who really doesn't want that to be true, and the US government that's willing to help him try. Pat Gelsinger is best known as the former CEO of Intel. For years, his job was to keep shrinking transistors and shipping faster chips. Now he's involved in a new effort aimed at pushing the limits of chip making again. To understand why this matters, you need a 10-second refresher on Moore's Law. It's the idea that the number of transistors on a chip roughly doubles every couple of years. That's what's given us smartphones, cloud computing, AI, pretty much the entire modern tech stack. But as we've shrunk transistors down to just a few nanometers, everything has gotten harder. It's not just clever design anymore. The physics of how we print those tiny features onto silicon has become the bottleneck. That printing step is called lithography. You basically blast very precise light through complex optics and masks to etch patterns onto a wafer. The shorter the wavelength and the more powerful the light, the tinier and cleaner the patterns you can make. Right now, a handful of tools, extreme ultraviolet scanners, are some of the most complicated machines humans have ever built. They're insanely expensive, and they're a huge reason why building cutting-edge fabs costs tens of billions of dollars. Gelsinger's new bet is that we might need a completely different approach to the light itself, something more like a light utility plant that lives next to the fab and feeds multiple machines with ultra-powerful, ultra-precise beams. At the same time, the US government is very worried about depending on a fragile global chip supply chain. So under the CHIPS and Science Act, it's putting serious money into anything that might restore a long-term edge in manufacturing, including new kinds of lithography. That's where the partnership comes in. You've got deep tech startups and veteran chip leaders on one side, and federal funding and policy on the other, both betting that if you can radically improve the light you use to etch chips, you can buy Moore's Law a few more rounds. If it works, we could see smaller, more efficient transistors, cheaper performance per watt, and more headroom for AI, cloud, and edge devices. In other words, your future laptops, phones, and AI accelerators might owe their capabilities to giant lasers and government grants most people never hear about. But there are open questions. The physics might not scale the way the slide decks promise, the timelines might slip, and some people worry about how much the government should own or influence when it comes to strategic technologies like this. So this isn't just a story about engineering. It's also about industrial policy. How far should a country go to protect its chip industry?